Hello everyone. So let us talk about tool hopping today. Now, I have seen this a lot in my experience where an organization is using a tool or tools, and they are always looking for ways to maybe evaluate a new tool or maybe to switch to another tool, or maybe they keep complaining about that particular tool, which which might not be just Jira, but any other tool. So this is not really a topic related to Jira. This is basically related to any tool that you might be using. But of course, I'll give you references or examples, or I'll use the terms that are definitely Jira specific. Now, if let us say you're using a tool like Jira, and of course, Jira, just like any other tool, it has some features. So whenever you're looking at a tool, uh, don't really try to mix up the capabilities of the tool, the features of the tool, and the way you work or your processes, uh, because when you're using a tool like Jira or any other tool, the tool will let you do a lot of things. But at the same time, the tool is a tool, right? The tool is not really going to do the work for you. The tool is not really going to run your Scrum calls. The tool is not really going to auto update issues, or the tool is not really going to create the issues for you. To begin with. So basically, when uh, when you are thinking, or whenever you are in a situation where there is a question, or there is this request to change the tool or to evaluate a new tool, first, I think the very first thing that you should do is ask yourself, or maybe ask everyone, or the person or the team who is raising this complaint, that what problems you're trying to solve, number one. So basically try to understand, okay, if not Jira, if you want to use something else, or if not let us say MS Project, if you want to use, even if you want to move to Jira, then what exactly is the problem that you're trying to solve? And this is again very important, because uh, based on this, you because moving to a new tool is it's not very simple or not very straightforward, because when you move to a new tool or when you start using a different tool, even if you're doing evaluation, you are actually spending time. You're also going to impact a lot of people who are involved in doing their day-to-day work. Whenever you move to a different tool, you are also thinking about training them. You're also thinking about their frustrations, because it is if you imagine you're a developer and you are using a tool, let us say, to work on your stories, right? Now, imagine, and you're used to it, and you don't really feel any problem because you're able to use the tool really, really nicely, and you have been doing it for a while. But imagine one day you have to use a different tool. So it is a bit annoying, to be honest, because human beings don't really like changes without any. I mean, you know, most of us don't really like unwanted changes, but definitely whenever there is a change, we feel uncomfortable, which I think that is by design, I guess, human design. But if you have identified those problems, number one, that you should qualify those problems, right? That, for example, the current tool won't do this, that, and these 10 things, and try to qualify, right? Are these valid problems? Are these valid challenges? Or they're probably just someone complaining or shouting, or maybe they're just being childish. I mean, it can happen, right? Because when we work as a team, when we're working in a group, or whenever more than three people are working together, there is always some politics. There is always some human behavior, because people always uh, think about these problems from their perspective. So a problem for one person might not be actually a problem. It might be just they don't really know how to do that thing in the tool. So if you have identified those problems, the next thing should be that you should try to identify why you can't solve it. For example, let us talk about Jira, right? So people say that, okay, in Jira you can't really do capacity management, right? I made a video on this, and that is definitely valid, because you can't really do capacity management in Jira. You can't really have like a very visual dependency map. You can't really do easily uh, time tracking. You can't really visualize your hierarchy, but there are workarounds, right? If you're looking for capacity management, then of course you can look at tempo. If you're looking for timesheets, again you can look at tempo. If you want to do hierarchies, you can use structure, or maybe you can think of using advanced roadmap. So each and every tool has, of course, an option to do some improvements, but there is always a limit of what you can do. And when you're trying to identify, when you've identified these problems and you're also working on how to solve it, then of course evaluate how much will it cost you. Are we talking about maybe purchasing a new app, or maybe we are talking about hiring someone to do those changes or customizing it for us? So so whenever you are, I mean, the point of making this video for me is to help you think about these situations where you might think, okay, we are on this tool, let us use another tool for, or maybe you will just look at the other tool by looking at the feature set of that particular tool, right? Sometimes it is important to focus on what you already have, and also try to do some balancing of the gains that you will get with a new tool and the things that you will miss or you will definitely not get in a new tool. For example, if you're using a tool like Jira, right? And I mean, Jira is a nice tool. Jira essentially is an issue tracker where you have like a repository of items, issues, tasks, whatever you want to call it. And then how you work on those items is up to you. Are you using Jira software? Are you using your own reports? Are you using your own dashboard? Or you're using Jira Service Management? And are you using Agile, Scrum, Kanban, the way you manage your work, your development methodology or delivery methodology? That is up to you. And uh, and when you're looking at these uh, these tools, when you're looking at these features or these problems that you are trying to solve with a new tool, you are also in a way uh, thinking from your perspective, because you might be in a procurement team and you're just given this responsibility of, okay, let us identify a new tool. uh, but in most cases you definitely need to consult, or you need to hire a consultant, external consultant, because if you're thinking of using a new tool, then you need to talk to both, uh, or you need to talk to someone who has an experience on both your current tool and and potentially your target tool. And for example, because have a lot of experience doing things on Jira, so I definitely straight away tell people that, okay, you have these problems, and yes, out of these 10 problems, you can't really solve two of them, or maybe there's a workaround, but you can definitely solve the remaining eight problems if you do this. If you maybe train your people, if you use this app, or if you use this automation, or if you maybe stop doing that bad thing that you're doing. But you need someone who can basically look at what you're doing and look at and try to understand your current uh, state, your current way of working, and also evaluate the potential improvements that you're trying to do with the new tool and your future state. So I'm making this video because I mean, not only I can help you because I'm a consultant, because if you want me to do this for you, I can definitely do that. But in general, as a whole, you should also think of using maybe some consultation services, or maybe just post it on community. For example, we have this Atlassian community where people do ask these questions a lot, and they are trying to, of course, understand what other people are doing in the industry. Good thing about I mean, good thing about 2022 is, or good thing about uh, current way of working or current methodologies in the industry, there are already a lot of standards. For example, the early 10 years of 2000s were focused a lot on agile, right? I mean, it was all about agile. The last decade was more focused on not only agile but also scaled agile, but also at the same time DevOps practices. And I think if you look at the way people work on things, I mean, earlier or till late 90s, it was, of course, mostly waterfall. But at the same time, even back then, it was waterfall. But there was always this concept of doing iterations and basically focusing of course, the requirements. I mean, the whole idea of agile was that you develop something small and you, of course, keep on improving it, and you create like a small module that can be plugged to other modules, and you have a working feature, or a feature that can be extended, right? But if you look at the scenario that we have right now in 2022, talking about talking about methodologies and tools, I think we are quite mature. Of course, things will improve in future, and talking about tools, I think the tools that we have right now, it could be Jira or not Jira, it could be any other tool or any other, Monday.com, whatever.com. You have a lot of mature practices, and we do have this. I mean, most of the companies are following some methodology. Either they are doing agile badly, or they are doing agile in a good way, or maybe they are using some other methodology. But there are some practices or similar practices that people are following in the industry, and hopping tool, or basically evaluating a new tool, or basically switching to a new tool may seem like a simple thing or an obvious thing to do, but it can actually overcomplicate things for your teams. So before you make the move, just think about what you're doing right now. It could be from any tool to Jira, or it could be from Jira to any other tool, or maybe within Jira. I mean, sometimes people hop from one app to another app, uh, and and if you, I'm sure you have seen my videos, right? I think I have a list of like few apps, and that is it. I don't really think we really need to use a lot of those apps. For example, if you give me Script Runner for Jira, if you give me Structure, not even Structure. Okay, if I have to if I have to pick just one app, of course that would be Script Runner. But Script Runner on top of Script Runner, if I can also get EasyBI, I think that will probably solve 90-ish% of scenarios based on my experience, because EasyBI can do all the reporting. Scriptner can, of course, let you modify whatever you want to modify. Of course, on Jira Data Center, not really Jira Cloud, unfortunately. But apart from Scriptner and EasyBI, definitely, structure, tempo, and if you're trying to follow Agile, then Easy Agile based apps can definitely help. But I don't really use or recommend like trying an app just for the sake of it, or just because it can do this thing. For example, let us talk about risk management. You don't really need an app for doing this, for doing risk management in Jira. Uh, Even for doing test management, because you won't be using Jira for automated testing. I mean, you can, but in most of the cases you just need to create test cases, and you can do it without using an app. I mean, if you have to use an app, then use Zephyr. It works fine. You can create a repository, but again, it is nothing but your issue types. So Jira, I keep saying this, and of course I will repeat it. Jira is an issue tracker, right? And it is like a huge repository of issues, and how you use those issues is up to you. But whether you are thinking of using another tool, or thinking of installing 10 different apps, think about it. Think about your current problems and how you're going to solve it with those new apps or tools. All right, I'm talking for 13 minutes now. Bye bye.